Okay, tough guys, bend over. Now come. Okay, stand up.
Williams, Jeffrey, get online for court. Make sure you're ready. I will be popping your door in 5 minutes. Alright, Jeffrey Williams. Wake up, get off of your rack, get ready for court. Pop in your cell in 5 minutes.
Going to court while in custody is an experience that is nothing short of brutal. The feeling of raw, cold concrete seeping through your county-issued, low-quality cotton pants is just the beginning. You are then subjected to enduring the all-day holding cells and county jail buses with nothing but a strong desire to get back to your jail housing. It's no wonder that many people choose to take pleas simply because they don't wish to go through that experience anymore. The conditions in which you are transported to court are horrendous, to say the least. The buses are cramped and uncomfortable, and the holding cells are often overcrowded and unsanitary. The lack of privacy and personal space only adds to the already stressful situation. It's hard to imagine anyone being able to focus on their case under these conditions. Young Thug went from top of the world fame to bottom of the barrel, bare minimum lucky to acquire necessities, incarcerated living, and in addition to all that, discovered he was facing charges related to Rico. The state's greatest piece of evidence lie in testimonial from co-defendants who could greatly benefit from making Young Thug the burden bearer of their charges, when in reality, someone of Young Thug's fame and stature infer he'd be the least likely to commit such heinous acts. He is in a precarious position indeed, with the prosecution solely interested in making him out to be the ringleader of an organization they believe to be worthy of mafia status. Young Thug's fame and notoriety working heavily against him because the prosecution alleges he used his money to not only finance criminal activity, but cover it up as well. An example would be giving Antonio Monk Tonk Sledge and other YSL associates money to, quote, lay low directly after the shooting of Donovan Thomas. In fact, Monk Tunk has already taken a plea deal requiring him to give up his Fifth Amendment right, which essentially forces him to testify against Young Thug if he is called up to the stand. Young Thug had been an inspiration to millions of people with his music, now locked up in the county jail, surrounded by multifaceted criminals and facing a very uncertain future. The county prosecutor, Fannie Willis, well, let's just say Fannie was hell-bent on implementing a field day out of this 28-man Rico indictment.
Fannie Willis has once been our attorney. She has represented several guys that's been so-called, they say, gang-related. Side of the sword you gonna ride on. That's definitely a conflict. It's more personal, and it's personal outside of law.
This isn't the first time I have heard that Fannie Willis represented some of the indictment's defendants. And what exactly does Mr. Williams Sr. mean when he says it's personal outside of the law? According to Miss Willis's LinkedIn account, she has, quote, over the course of her 24-year career, represented clients in civil, domestic, juvenile, family law, and criminal cases. My smog brethren, there is so much at stake in this trial. It goes so much further than just getting gang members off of the street, considering half the indicted have already copped pleas and are back out on the street. However, these are the same gang members Fannie Willis labeled community detriments in her post-arrest press conference. The same gang members allegedly responsible for the majority of Atlanta's violent crimes.
My number one focus is targeting gangs, and there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community.
What the fuck?
Oh, Fannie, you just haven't a clue when to fold 'em and when to hold 'em, do you? You talk like you're tough on crime, yet your statistics say otherwise. You really should mosey on down to California. We're entirely used to politicians just like yourself. You would fit right in. But not all defendants fell for the old okie-doke plea bargain trap. Some threw the bait you tried to lure them with right back at the system designed to strand them on cell blocks for eternity. King Smog salutes those gentlemen.
All right, calm down. Don't worry. After today, it'll be all over.
Over for who? Over for you? Huh?
Mr. Mender also is currently on another indictment.
Give me a name. What's your name? Don't worry about my name. I know your name, your full name. Remaining silent ain't all it's cracked up to be. You want to live, right? Then give us what we need.
And this case would run concurrent with that case whenever he resolved that other case, Your Honor.
But on this case, he could go home today.
Correct.
Ms. Fagan, have you communicated that to your client in terms of is that to correctly summarize the plea agreement or the potential plea offer, I should say?
At this time, though, he still maintains a not guilty plea, respectfully rejects the offer, and we announce ready for trial.
Brothers Tenquarius, Nard, and Durante B.B. Mender would much rather roll the dice in trial than return to the streets, only to most likely have to return to that same courtroom and take the stand against Young Thug. These gentlemen chose honor and integrity over cowardice. This doesn't make them guilty. On the contrary, it highlights how determined they are to prove their innocence. Making the choice not to plead guilty and go home that day, I can promise you, wasn't the, quote, hardest day of their life or thing to do. It was because what the state was requesting could never be an option. If they are members of a gang, then they simply refuse to turn on an organization they took an oath to die or spend life in prison for. They were well aware that this day may be in their future, and instead of running from what they swore to uphold and represent, they firmly embraced it. There is nothing worse than a hypocrite, nor is there anything more noble than living with principle and engaging in action which will solidify your namesake, not forsaken. King Smog sounding off. Like, comment, and shoot that sub.